Hi everyone, today we have a new video review and this time we are going to talk about quite interesting watch from Alexander Shorokhoff. So here we get the nice box. We will talk more about this in unboxing. This watch is so-called Regulator and as you can see here we get quite an interesting design. And I would like to cover it more in this review to tell you more about the functions, what actually makes it special. And first, as usual, I suggest we start with unboxing and then we'll check all of the features one by one. So as you saw in this unboxing, watch comes in, I would say, traditional box for Alexander Shorokhoff, and if you have some watches from this brand in your collection, you will not be surprised, but this is a quite high quality box and I think it's suitable for the watch. But what I did is I took out this watch and as you can see we have here quite a large composition. But this model is notable because of its unusual design. As you can see, the dial is not exactly symmetrical and we have some various finishes here as well as the colors and digits combined together with indices. So it's really unusual and creative combination, so that's why I decided to take a closer look. And note that this is only one option, so you get only the black dial, there are no other colorways. And if we are talking about the dial, let's start with it and discuss what is actually happening here. So first of all, the dial size here is 43.5 millimeters, which is slightly more than average size, but I think it's still wearable if you have the average sized wrist. And as for the dial, as I was saying, we have here a combination of the traditional Alexander Shorokhoff elements together with some unusual things which actually make this dial a bit more attractive, but of course such elements will not be up for everyone's taste. And let's see why. So first of all, as I was saying before, we have the asymmetrical dial. It means these two sub-dials are not exactly the same and they are different even in the styling. So here on the left one we have the digits and on the right one we have only the indices. And also we have the magnifying glass in the bottom, so we have the date indicator, even though it is not as bright as I would wish it to be. I don't know why, because maybe the magnifying glass is integrated below the top glass, so this is quite interesting solution, I would say. And because it's a regulator watch, we have the second hand going here separately, so as you can see it's a quite large part which is finished in white color. And of course Alexander Shorokhoff is notable because of its 60 mark at 12 mark, so it's present here, and we have the Alexander Shorokhoff logo here on the bottom, and the made in Germany is engraved on the outer edge of this sub-dial, which is placed here, and this is actually brushed metal surface, so that's why it looks interesting. And of course we have the white indices on this sub-dial, so you will see it on the close-ups. This is quite interesting composition, and it's worth noting that also the sub-dials, they are also coming in the metal finish, so they are somewhat shiny, but they're more on the brushed surface finish, I would say, not on the mirror polishing. But edges of these parts are actually polished to mirror-like surface, so that's why it adds a bit more visual interest here. And of course it's worth noting that the readability and legibility, if you prefer, is quite good here, so thanks to these large digits and thanks to the large hands. And of course One might wonder if we have the luminescence layer here. Here it is actually used as the feature of the watch to emphasize the colors, because it is coming in a green color, and it's also handy in the dark conditions obviously, and you will see also on the close-ups why it is looking, I would say, suitable here for this avant-garde composition. But all of this is actually balanced with the case. So now let's talk about the part which is housing this nice dial. Traditional cues can be traced in the case as well. So first of all, I have to note something what I missed in the dial part. So we have the sapphire glass here obviously, and we have the simple glass on the rear side. And as for the case, we have the stainless steel part, we have the mirror-like polishing on the edges, and this is actually quite nice feature, but of course you will have to be careful because it's easy to cover it with the scratches. And now I'm looking at the, let's say, profile of this watch. So it's quite thin, it's only 12 millimeters, so it should be easy to wear, and here you can see it with your own eyes. And maybe what I can do is actually take it out from this pouch, and now you can see the thickness of this watch. Also here we have the legs, which are slightly bent. It should contribute to the ease of use, but still do not underestimate the size of this watch. It's still, I would say, on the large side, and it's not suitable for the thin wrists. And as for the rear side, here we will find the window in order to appreciate the movement. We also have notes about the features. It's written sapphire glass, made in Germany, and we have also the numbers. So this watch is actually 11th out of 30. So as I was saying, this is a limited edition, that's why we get the number. But now it's also worth talking about the movement, because here we have quite an interesting situation, and regulator movement is not normally produced, so there had to be done some modifications, and I think it's worth talking about. So now first of all I have to open this strap and show you the rear side, because rear side is really beautiful here. And we have the custom engraving on the movement. It is ETA movement, so it's quite precise, I would say, but it was modified in Switzerland in order to have this regulator movement feature. We have the power reserve. It was written that it should be 38 hours, and to be exact about the model of the movement, it's ETA 2892/2 as far as I remember. So it's quite famous movement. It can be found in some other watches from different brands, so I would say it's somewhat reliable choice, and it should be good here as well. And as you can see, the movement of the second hand is quite smooth, even though some of the watch fans can find it a bit jerky, but I think it's quite notable here, and it's worth looking at this a bit more carefully when you are checking this watch. And if we are talking about the case and the movement, it's also difficult to miss the strap. So as you can see, the strap is quite soft leather strap. We have it in the brown color, which adds a bit of the color to the overall composition, because as you can see, we have color only on the dial. The case is somewhat classic, and there are no additional options for the strap, so you are presented only with this one, but you can order some additional choice from Alexander Shorokhoff website. By the way, I think it's worth also talking about the in-use feature. So before we started, I have to say that strap does not have the quick release bars, but there are also some other things which I would like to note about this watch, so let's go. So first of all, we have to understand that this is not a diver's watch, not an, I would say, sports watch. This is more of a dress option, and it wouldn't be surprised that it's also on the big side of the dimensions of the case, and even the thickness does not save the situation. So if I, for example, put it on my wrist, and I have, I would say, somewhat average sized wrist, as you can see, the lugs are still protruding from my hand. You will see it on the wrist shots. And this is something what you should keep in mind, so do not overestimate your wrist size. It's better to try it in person and see whether it fits you properly and whether it looks good on your hand. Another thing is the dial. So for the dial, I think, even though the design here is quite unusual and different from what we are used to see on the timepieces, here it's quite legible. I didn't have any issues with the second hand and detecting the minutes and hours, so that's not a problem. The only thing which I'm having here is the date indicator. I'm not sure why they were using the magnifying glass under the glass. It would be better to have the glass with the magnifying elements embedded, but maybe it would be more expensive, who knows. And for the usability, the only, I would say, gripe which I have with the case is the crown. So crown looks quite fine. It's not of the overall styling of the watch, but it's also traditionally for Alexander Shorokhoff really hard to pick. So as you can see, I have just to slide my nail there. It's not screwable crown, fortunately, but as you can see, it's really difficult to get. And then if you adjust the watch, as you can see, you adjust in both. That's the minutes hand, that's the hours hand, and the seconds hand just freezes in place. So this is quite interesting, I would say, movement of the parts, and of course that's the main advantage of the regulator watch in case you are searching for something unusual. So overall, I think this is a great choice for those who would like to have such a movement, such a feature in their collection. It should be already available, but keep in mind that there are only 30 pieces produced and they will be priced accordingly. As far as I remember, price will be around 3,000 euros. So in case you would like to get one, hurry up because it will not last long. And I think the overall styling, the overall composition is really great here. So the only thing which I am still hoping that in the future models we will see some fixes to this traditional, let's say, crown problem, and maybe also some more features with the covering glass. Of course, you can get this watch on official Alexander Shorokhoff website. As far as I remember, it is also present on Helvetii webshop, so you can get it there as well. And of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. And if you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you will see more of the watches which are as interesting as this one in the future videos, so stay tuned, and I will see you in the next video as usual. Bye!